let us begin with a little girl, as she stands there, listening to the song, and waiting for her turn, as her and a group of kids run up on the stage, and begin to practice ballet. She twirls and she spins. She's still a bit clumsy, but she knows what she's doing, as they have to twirl and keep their footing, making sure not to mess up. You're basically dancing on knives and learning what to do. As she can hear the music amp up, and everyone starts to get faster and faster and faster. And she does have to try and keep up. Do more. Try not to mess up. She messed up during their practice last time, and she's not going to do it again. As she spins and twirls, and the music is finally done, and the song is over, as she's breathing very heavily. However, that is just something that she remembers, when in fact, in all actuality, she is sitting in a chair. And, surprise, surprise, the doctors are monitoring exactly what she is going through. By this time, the music score is over, and they have scanned and analyzed her brain, along with trying to understand her quirk a little bit better and study it, trying to alter it more, make it something that they can truly use and be proud of. Now, with that being said, Izuki is then later taken back to her room, as inside the facility, she talks to Ivan, and he does ask her exactly how did her ballet go, to which she doesn't really have a good answer for, simply just saying that it all went perfectly fine, as she is a little bit happy. And she is a bit tired though. She does feel like she has a headache. Ivan simply just saying that she probably does need some water, and she must be very hungry, telling her that he got her her favorite meal, as she looks excited, ecstatic, and they leave. She heads back to her room as she's talking with him, talking about how things have been going on. And she brings up the fact that for the last couple months, ballet training has been a bit more difficult and been a bit harder. Also, her body is beginning to feel a bit weird afterwards, and she does get strange headaches, unaware of the alterations to her mind. As Ivan just simply tells her that that is perfectly normal, and it should all be going away fairly soon. She just needs to work on getting a little bit stronger, as he says in his own words. Now, after that does happen, later on into the day, they also do go to see some doctors, getting their physical exams, and, well, having a bit of operations put on them. These operations are going to be chemical alterations to their bodies. Izuki is going to get a bit of a form of the super soldier serum. The doctors have been trying to improve it and make vast enhancements to the old formulas. With enough of these doses, they will eventually become super soldiers, the Black Widows that they are looking for, giving her the doses and sending her on her way, as she goes to a school and begins to learning more and more information. This being her day-to-day life, along with remembering seeing her parents. This is a bit odd, however, since the last time she just saw her parents was a few days ago. Now, this is her day-to-day life, or so she thinks. In reality, she is having medicine taken. She is taking the actual super soldier serum. And she is not doing ballet. She is doing combat training. However, ballet is simply a form of using it. She is being taught multiple forms of martial arts, along with multiple ways to handle weapons and firearms. Now, she is also going through advanced combat training, and she's actually doing very well, as she is roughly around the age of, let's say, 9 to 10 years old. And she's actually very, very nervous about the next thing that's coming up. One night she has had to sleep. However, the next morning she does wake up and find that the veil has been broken. She is not in her regular place. She woke up inside the facility instead of inside of her room. And quite a lot of the people around her, they do take notice to her. She has that fish out of water look in her eyes. So, clearly, she has broken through that veil once again. This being seen as a bit odd. All the other little girls there at the facility, they don't usually do this as much as she does. Then again, she is one of the top ranking people they have for the Black Widow initiative. Now, they simply take her into a room, and to her they explain some things. While in all actuality, they strap her down to a machine and simply redo some of the, well, memory changes, the false memories that they implant into her mind. And she goes on her way, as she does actually go to combat training today. And she is paired up against another one of the top ranking people in the program. As the two walk onto the mat and simply bow to each other, bringing up both of their hands as they get ready to fight. With everything these children have been going through, it isn't a surprise that they've been able to start showing improvements. Not just physically, but both mentally. Subconsciously, Izuki is aware of the situation. She is in ballet, doing it right now. However, whenever she does look down, instead of being on the stage, she is on a mat, confused. While she is also wearing a different outfit instead of a tutu. Now, with that being said, she is also aware that there is no one to her left or to her right. As she begins the match, her body moving on its own, and beginning to fight against this person. As they go through multiple forms of martial arts, beginning with Krav Maga, Tai Chi, and working their way all around it, along with actually showing off Judo and kickboxing. Now, the woman in charge does go on stating that every single battle that you will be going through will simply be part of your training. You will simply see it as a way to improve yourself and go further beyond your own natural limitations. A way to push yourself and be better. A way that you can help to serve the KGB and to help further your own progression. You are already becoming enhanced and supers, as we will label you. And the program and initiative will be commencing very soon. Now, Izuki, and as she says the other girl's name, you two have been fighting for around 10 minutes. I do expect one of you to actually win. Now, The other girl and Izuki have been fighting, as this girl, her quirk, is a bit odd. She was specifically told not to use it in combat, in this exercise. Then again, it may not really have something to do with combat. While Izuki, her quirk is a bit more not really in her control. They've been trying to edit her quirk and actually find a way to change it so as to help it be a bit more direct in its approach. Now, they are still working on this, however, and eventually, Izuki and this girl, where they are fighting, Izuki does actually throw out her hand for a straight solid punch. The girl simply smacking her wrist away and jabbing her multiple times in her right forearm, before Izuki throws out her left hand and jabs her directly in the stomach. And this other girl simply throws her face outwards, smashing her in the face with her nose, or smashing Izuki in the nose with her forehead. The proper way to headbutt someone, if those of you are curious. And both these two actually do take a couple steps backwards, as Izuki shakes off the bloody nose, bringing her hand up and reaching for it, before realizing what's going on, as the other girl simply rushes towards her and tries to attack her, jumping onto her and immediately beginning by beating her in the face, as she simply goes on instinct, immediately bringing her left hand up and smacking the girl with a flat palm in the throat. As it gets a bit harder for her to breathe, she simply then throws out her right elbow directly into her head and knocks her onto the ground, as she gets up and is a bit out of breath, trying to recover, before looking around and seeing that everyone else is in the same type of combat uniforms. And this woman is simply just staring at the combatants, saying that is the first time they have had a tiebreaker. And you are performing well, Izuki. Her simply just looking at the woman and then looking a bit confused, her face showing emotion, as the woman just stares at her for a minute and tells her to fall back in line, before Izuki does not listen, and the woman declares her a broken veil, and she is simply taken away and her mind and memories are changed. However, the events are lingering. This girl has broken the veil multiple times, and they're thinking that it is because of her above average intelligence compared to everyone else. Along with that, whenever she did come back to, as they apparently think, she simply was able to overcome another well-trained operative. And she didn't even realize she was fighting yet. Her body was reacting on natural instincts. Now, with that being said, a lot of people in the organization do go back and forth about what they should be doing. If they should try to loosen the restraints on their operatives, or tighten them. Basically begin to deal with them if they keep breaking the veil, or simply try and thin the herd, or simply make their combatants a lot more forward-thinking. Many people having disputes. However, they cannot come to a clear vote, nor a simple solution. So they stay exactly where they are. Now, with that being said, their next challenge is actually being out in the snow and trying to survive the harsh climates. Now, with that, this is where the KGB does take these operatives out into the snow and begin to work on their marksmanship, trying to work on their aim in a forest, instructing the agents that they are going to be taking these children out there and simply teaching them how to survive. They will be deep in the Russian wilderness and not picked up for the next year of their lives. Those of you that survive will be considered perfect for the next part of our program. Then, you will simply be properly sent on your first missions, saying that that should be all. Now, they are then telling the agents that in case they do break the veil, simply just say their code or their trigger word. Now, with that being said, the KGB do give these operatives a certain beacon to reach. It is going to be the highest point of the highest mountain that they can see. And if they do not get there in time, then, well, good luck surviving the winter. Especially whenever a storm is going to be coming in. And they're basically going to have to try and navigate a large part of the continent during winter. And climb up a mountain without any gear. Now, with that being said, the operation does commence. And right away, the KGB agents are beginning to show them what to do. They are all put into teams. Team 1, Team 2, Team 3, and Team 4. And if they break the veil, they'll simply be put back in line immediately. And the memories of the past year will be altered. Now, with that being said, Izuki, her and her team, do actually leave. They are some of the first ones that set out. They want to get a good distance ahead and make a base camp. Once they do that, then they will simply be able to stay there and hold out for winter. Once the storms begin to pass, they can try and set out on new routes and hunt for food. This being some of the simplest things they can think of. Now, this is whenever the men actually begin to instruct them that what they're going to do is quite simple, as they take the girls out on hunting. And Department X is a bit wary of this experiment. This is one of the biggest things that they are wary about. If one of those girls break through the veil, they might have access to a firearm, and possibly compromise the entire thing. Now, this is whenever we'll cut to roughly a couple weeks later. In the wilderness, Izuki, she is laying in a thick pit of snow. In fact, it's mostly covering her entire body, along with the white suit she is actually wearing. It is specially designed to insulate heat, but she still does need to maintain the appearance of being Snow White in this environment. As she takes a deep breath in and a deep breath out as she aims down sights and is looking for her target. Now, she does actually see quite a few things. Some jackrabbits and possibly a few deers. Now, this is whenever she does get her aim on her target, and she actually does bring her finger down onto the trigger, and she is about to squeeze, before Ivan simply walks up beside her. She heard his footsteps and she immediately brought her finger back up to the side, touching the cold metal, looking at him as he simply just brings his hand up to his mouth, telling her to be quiet and to just look, as he brings up a scope on his own rifle. As she looks back down sights, seeing a bear, a big black bear, as he begins to chase away the deer, and simply begin to go after it. Now, that was something that no one really expected. In fact, she wasn't even aware that that thing was there. Now, she has not officially broken the veil yet. However, you can clearly tell that some effects of the brainwashing are beginning to be diluted. You can clearly see some sense of emotion and response in their face whenever given a command. Since they have not been treated in the last few weeks. It used to be a daily routine, having memory alterations, just to make sure that the veil is not even open, let alone peeked through. So, Izuki is actually beginning to peek through the veil. Instead of her being in ballet and in a very warm room, and then having hot chocolate afterwards, she can at least understand a little bit of the truth. It is warm, yes, but that is simply the outfit she is wearing. Along with that, her hands are cold, and they are touching cold metal, as she can see outside. Looking outside of this red room, however, she does see a picture. A deer running by the window and then being chased by a black bear. Confused as she looks outside. And then her hands feel cold. Looking down to see the weapon in her hands. Before simply just bringing her finger down on the trigger and aiming down sights with it to see this corrupted memory, you can call it. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.